Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gartner Research and Advisory VP Analyst and Conference Chair, Suzanne Adnams.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gartner IT Symposium Expo here in Canada and our opening keynote for Industry Day. Mark Bowden has been voted the #1 body language professional in the world for 2 years running. So yes, now is the time to sit up straight. Mark is the founder of communication training company TRUTHPLANE. His clients include leading business people, politicians, presidents of Fortune 500 companies, and prime ministers of G7 powers. Mark's highly acclaimed TEDx talk has reached millions of people. He has written 4 books on body language and human behavior, the most recent being best-selling Truth and Lies: What People Are Really Thinking. In case it's not yet clear, he's one of the world's foremost authorities on nonverbal communication. We're thrilled to have him here today. Please welcome to the Gartner stage, Mark Bowden.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me. So I'm going to be with you for 45 minutes, talking with you about non-verbal communication, or what many people call body language, and how you can use your own body language on purpose in order to stand out, to win trust, to gain credibility every time you communicate. So be thinking today, whether it's up on a stage like this, because my guess is many of you here will get the experience of this at some point in your career if you haven't already. All of you at some point get to present to smaller groups. Everybody sits down one-on-one with somebody. Most of you are in those boardroom situations, whether it's one or many, trying to get your message across. And here's my proposition for you. If you could win trust and gain credibility with those most important people, even before you've opened your mouth, would that be useful for you? Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're here for. So look, during this, by the way, the more you talk, the more you like this. So listen, it's quite dark out there, so I can't see you so well. But if you do have a burning question at some point, this is a really good non-verbal indicator of I have a question. Yeah, but it's quite dark out there. You'd have to stand up probably and scream at me at the same time, but I am open to that kind of thing. Now listen, let's get on with it, okay? You've already decided whether you like me or not. Yeah, wouldn't you agree? Yeah, you've already judged me. Yeah, and then let's just tune in to that judgment. You've got a little voice in your head that's talking about me right now. Yeah, can you hear it? Yeah, I'm up here behaving in front of you, and I do stuff, I move around, I behave, and you hear what I say, and you've got this little chatter in your head around me, this judgment system. That's okay. I'm okay with that. You do that to me, I do that to you, but you've got to understand that some of those most important people within and without your organization are doing the same to you. They judge you immediately before you've even told them what you're there for. Does that make sense? Now, tune in to that little voice in your head. Is it optimistic or pessimistic about our time together right now? Just listen to it. Has it got an upward inflection to its tonality? Is it going, oh, okay, I talk a little bit, I move a little bit, it goes, oh, okay, yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but it'll get better. Yeah, is it doing that? Is it optimistic? Or is it pessimistic at the moment? I talk and I move and it's going, oh, gosh, should have stayed outside. Yeah, Yeah, this won't get very good at all. So look, or is it something in between? Because here's what I'm going to do with you today. I'm going to show you how I can change that optimism and pessimism, that tone of voice in your head about me, simply by changing my nonverbal behavior. It's so simple for me to do, and you can do it as well. And you can train your teams to do it. Once you know how simple it is, you can take some of those people who often you're a little bit more concerned about within your team when they maybe get up to present, and you can give them these techniques as well. So let's get on with that. Look, that voice in your head is being done in a part of your brain that, if we take evolution as a given, and we're going to have to take evolution as a given simply because I'm an evolutionary behavioral psychologist. And if we don't, everything I tell you disappears in a puff of smoke. So evolution as a given, that part of your brain is 500 million years old. Some people call it the brain stem or the R complex, the reptilian brain, and it's that part of your brain that's making those snap judgments about me and deciding, should you approach me right now or avoid me? Am I benefit for you or am I risk? You use that instinctual part of your brain to judge me. I use it to judge you, and all those important people in your life use that same part of the brain. There are 4 categories that part of the brain gets to put other people into. I want to take you through those 4 categories. So, lovely introduction there. Lovely introduction, which frankly I wrote. It's a piece of propaganda. Yeah, I wrote it. Beautifully done there. But it's kind of a warm referral. A warm referral from somebody, from an organization that, you have some feeling of relationship with. So it's a good, warm referral. And we all get those in our lives. We end up in that meeting because we've been warmly referred into that place. But ultimately, regardless of that, on I come, and then you truly judge me. And your instinct says, based on mainly Mark's movement, mainly the movement, and a certain percentage on the tone of my voice, is Mark a benefit to me? Based on the way he moves, the context he's in, the music that his voice is playing, is Mark a friend? Is he a benefit? If I spend time with him, am I going to come out with more than I went in with? Now, if your instinct makes that decision on me, a message is sent from that instinctual part of the brain, 500 million years old, to a newer part of the brain called the neocortex. Neocortex, new brain. It's about 200,000 years old, so it's very new. It's very expensive to run. It takes 40 watts of power to get that neocortex going. That's about 1/3 of every breath that you take is running that smart brain, that neocortex, which frankly means it's not switched on as much as you would hope. Okay, so 40 watts to keep that going. A message is sent from this old brain to the new brain saying, go and get me all the data that proves Mark is a friend. Not all the data that proves I'm a friend and disproves it and anything else in between. You now have a positive cognitive bias around me. And so here's what happens. That neocortex, a part of it called the Broca's area, starts listening to my language, but it's only hearing the good stuff. It starts to distort and delete it if it's hearing bad stuff. And if it has no idea what I'm talking about, because, I don't know, maybe there's a language barrier going on, and, I do this talk all over the world. In Canada, not so much. There won't be a language barrier, but for you guys, my guess is you're often in meetings and there is a language barrier because you might be talking in conceptual ideas that your audience, be it one or many, don't have a great understanding of. So they're having to make up their ideas of what they think you're saying. And they're mainly going to be doing that by watching your behavior and hearing the tonality of your voice. Because this message is sent from the old brain to the new brain saying, go and get me all the data that proves this is good stuff. This is valuable. This is friend. This is benefit. And so they use a part of their neocortex called the imagination, and they make up the best idea of what they believe you would have said given your behavior. And that's why I can do this speech all over the world, and people come up to me afterwards and they say, "Oh, I love it when you said X." And I think, "Oh, I never said that." Yeah, I know, I never said that. Often I'm thinking that's just, too smart for me. I'd have never, most of actually what you're hearing today is stuff that other people said I've said, and I just put it together in something that feels like a pretty good speech, okay? So, often we're making up our ideas of what we believe people said, given our bias. Well, that's lovely if you've hit that friend category. But alternatively, lovely introduction here, on I come, I start behaving, and your brainstem, your instinct goes, hang on, is Mark a threat to me? Based on his behavior, the context, his tonality of voice, if I spend time with him, will I come out with less than I went in with? Is there risk to Mark? Now, if that happens, a message is sent from the brainstem to the neocortex saying, go and get me all the data that proves Mark is a risk. Not all the data that proves I'm a risk and disproves it and anything else in between. You now have a negative cognitive bias around me. And so now the Broca's area starts listening to what I'm saying, but it only hears the bad stuff. And if there's good stuff, it does distortion and deletion, and it makes it bad. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you use your imagination and you make up a bad idea about what you believe I would have said, given my behavior. Now, the one thing I definitely want for all of you today is that you understand the triggers that you might send out, the behaviors, the movements that you might often accidentally do that trigger other people into that negative bias around you. Because you've got great ideas for your organizations. You need to help transform them. You need to help transform your teams to do that. But you've sat down in meetings already in your life, and you are giving those people gold. You're giving them your best work, yeah? You're giving them really helpful stuff, and they're coming back to you with very negative ideas about what you're saying to them. Yeah, and they're saying, oh, well, you said this, and you intended this, and there was this, and this was bad, and this was bad, and we're worried about this, and you're thinking, hang on, it's ridiculous. I didn't say those things, and I don't use those words, and they've got completely the wrong idea. And then you're starting to think, oh, gosh, they're just making this stuff up, and they're just making it up. Okay? But they're doing it to fit their judgment about you based on your behavior. And your behavior will have unconsciously triggered them, and often it's your own feelings within that meeting that is creating these movements, these behaviors that trigger that negative attitude. I want to make sure you have the countermeasures for that today. We're going to get there in a moment. Okay. Third category, lovely introduction there. On I come, I start behaving in front of you, and instantly all of you get this electricity through your body, this big surge of excitement and energy as you look at me and you think to yourself, oh yes, Mark, potential sexual partner. All right, well, not usually so much laughter on that, but never mind, never... Prophet is never seen in their own hometown, clearly. Well, look, I'm obviously not trying to get into that category with you. If I have, it's a complete accident. Nothing I can do with it. Okay, and look, I only bring this up because I need you to understand just how simple the brain is around judging people. So I want to take you through a couple of the things that our brains look out for, our minds look out for, in order to judge, is this person a good potential mate for us? Simply because it'll help you understand just how simple this instinctual brain is. So, here's a couple of the things we look out for. We look out for how healthy is that person, and we judge that often on their hair. Your hair is a history of your health. Yeah, the far history being at the ends and the nearest history being nearest the roots. And so regardless of your hair, now obviously there's some people I can't help in the room around can't see you that well, but I know you're out there. And look, obviously I have a bias, a very strong bias that you know about all of this. But regardless of the color or type of hair you have, what we're looking for is that it might be rich in color. Rich in color denotes high mineral content in the diet. We're looking for, is it shiny? Is it glossy? That denotes fats and proteins in the diet. Both of which, if we've got rich, colored, glossy hair, that means you come from a land where you recently had access to a high nutritional food source. If we're to mate, the offspring stand a very high statistical chance of getting hold of that nutrition. Now, just so you know, this comes out of a bottle. Yeah, it's actually probably coming out as we speak. It is actually. Wow. I'm joining some of you sooner than you might expect. So we can fake this. Essentially, we think nothing of going to, in Canada, a Shoppers Drug Mart in the main, and getting a product off the shelf, putting it on, in order to get the best advantage in that particular market. Yeah, we don't think that's a wrong thing to do. Yeah? All of you here, I would guess, you went to your wardrobe today and you made a choice. Some of it may have felt a little more unconscious, but you made a choice about what you wear. Well, why? Because the way you show yourself here, the way you explain yourself, the way you express yourself through your clothing, you believe, quite rightly, that that will give you some kind of benefit in the market that you are here, of networking with each other and getting on with each other. Does that make sense? And the reason I tell you this is because in a few moments I will give you the signals that you can do on purpose that cause other people, regardless of where they're from on the planet, to trust you. And often at this point people go, oh, no, but I can't put on those behaviors on purpose. I can't just get trust on purpose because, ultimately I'm a great person. And I worked really hard to get intelligent, and I worked really hard to reach my leadership position. And so people should respond to my intelligence and my leadership position and the general thing that I'm an all-round pretty good, nice person. Yeah, and that's well and good. It's a good attitude. It's the kind of build it and they will come attitude. Well, I have to tell you, they're not coming. Yeah, they're going to watch Netflix. It's fantastic. Yeah, you are in competition, even around the ideas of intelligence and leadership and just being an all-round good person. You're in competition. And sometimes, just as you may manipulate your hair or manipulate your wardrobe, sometimes you need to choose behaviors in order to get the results that you want. And so I just want to lay that down there because when we come to the point where I show you these gestures that will win trust, just keep that in mind. Keep an open mind to using these gestures on purpose. Now, so fourth category, and probably the most important to all of us here today. Lovely introduction, but if I haven't hit friend or enemy or mate with you, there is one category left, and that is that you are indifferent to me right now. And if you're indifferent to me right now, here's exactly what you're hearing. And your mind is just off imagining the friends and enemies and potential mates you could be with. Now, there are about 7.3, maybe to 7.6 billion people on the planet right now. So, what do you think the default is? When somebody new meets you, when you meet somebody new joins your team. Yeah, you walk in there with a client or a stakeholder of some sort into that meeting. 7.6 billion people on the planet. What do you think their most likely default is for you? Friend, enemy, mate, or indifference? Well, look, if it were friend, no other data, friend. Imagine this situation here. I can't see you so well, but that's okay because my instinct would instantly go, you can't see any of these people. They're all your friends. Well, this would be the biggest family reunion I've ever been to. Yeah, I would be jumping off the stage right now, giving everybody a hug. I wouldn't be able to get on with the work that I'm trying to do here. What if it were predator? Yeah, there's a lot of insufficient data here. I can't see the body language that's going on. If my brain instantly went, predator then, everybody is a predator, well, you know, I wouldn't have been able to make it onto the stage to do this. I would be in a heap in the corner in a state of extreme paranoia. If I can't see any data, you know, there's no sufficient data out there, but everybody is a potential sexual partner, well, that's not illegal, but I would be a very annoying person to be around. Yeah, and I certainly wouldn't be able to get on with my work right now. So it has to be indifferent. We are indifferent to the majority of people around us. And let's just test that, because I know, just because I can see the room here, I know all of you have passed by hundreds of new people this morning out there. Hundreds of new people. Good people, just like you. Smart people, just like you. Intelligent, good people, friendly, nice people, people who could help. Yet how many of each other do you remember? Yeah, my guess is you got hardly anybody in your head right now. Yeah? And if you have got somebody in your head, I'd be thinking, well, friend, enemy, or mate. Which one was it? Yeah, there will be something that triggered it. So when you walk into some of those most important meetings, my gamble is that the default for most of the people there is they are indifferent to you. Now, the important thing is, what category do you need to get into to stand out, to win trust, and to gain credibility? Well, my guess is, of course, you're thinking friend. Absolutely. And you'd be right, and we're going to get there. But before we get there, why not enemy? Why not predator? Because if I give you the signals of predator right now in the room, you will start to watch me even more closely than you're watching me right now. Your eyes will start to unconsciously track me in a way that they probably haven't been doing yet today. But what will happen, do you imagine, if I give you those signals, what will happen to your ideas about me and my content? Will you be optimistic about our time together or pessimistic? Where do you think it'll go? Optimism or pessimism? Pessimism, absolutely. Let's just test that. In just one moment, I'm going to do only two things with my body language, my non-verbal behavior. Two things on purpose. Now, you will see other stuff happen. That's what we call a cascade effect. If you use big muscle groups on the body, lots of other muscle groups have to join in, including tone of voice, facial muscles. Everything kind of falls into place if you move the big muscle groups in a specific way. So you'll see other stuff happen, but I want you to understand I'm only doing two things on purpose. And what I want you to notice is how you start to judge me. Now, before we do that, I want you to know that we have approximately 23 minutes left together. 23 minutes left together, you and me. Now, are you optimistic about that or pessimistic? Listen to the tonality of your voice. Is it upwards about me going, oh, okay, 23 minutes, that'll be okay. I don't know what's going to happen, but, you know, it'll get better. You know, or is it going, oh God, another 23 minutes? That can't be any good. That's going to be terrible. Yeah, the first half hour was awful. Yeah. So where is it? Optimistic or pessimistic? Okay, so now listen to the tone of your voice, listen to your attitude about me, as all I do is drop my hands down by my side and just crunch in my stomach. That's all I'm doing. Now notice, is there already, do you think, a different feeling about me in the room? A different feeling about me and my content for you? So just so you know, we're going to be together for 22 minutes. Yeah, so it's a different 22 minutes, isn't it? Time hasn't changed. The world isn't spinning any faster around the sun and through the galaxy, so therefore time hasn't sped up or slowed down. But your attitude to me is making time feel different with me. You're evaluating me differently. Wouldn't you agree? And all I did was drop my hands down by my side and crunched in my stomach. Yes, there are some differences in the tone of my voice. There are some differences in the movements that my face are making, but that's part of the cascade effect. It would be the same for you. If I get you to hold your hands down by your sides and just drop your center of gravity and crunch in the stomach, your voice, your face would be doing very much the same thing. And can you hear that tonality of voice that's coming with this? That loud downward tonality. That's what we call command tonality, when it's loud and downward. Any questions about that? No, good. When that downward tonality is, I'm going to stand still so the downward tonality becomes softer and quieter, but it still remains downward. This puts me into the kind of fight and flight part of it where you'll start to feel quite sleepy around me. Yeah, again, all I'm doing is standing still with my hands down by my side and dropping my center of gravity. We're going to have 20 minutes together. And by the way, I want to reiterate what it said in my resume. What you have in front of you, voted for by my peers, is the #1 expert in my field in the world. I'm here to help you. You can trust me. So it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting because, the reality is you got the #1 expert in their field in the room, and you're judging that negatively. You're judging it negatively based on my behavior. And did you notice you might have liked the first half hour? Although you had no idea what the hell was going on, you might have gone, okay, this is going to be okay. Yeah? And the moment this happens in front of you, the moment this happens, do you notice how your judgment turns around? Do you notice how you've forgotten that last person? So here's what I want to know from you, is what do you think I'm doing on purpose in order to trigger that friend category with you? What do you think it is I'm doing on purpose with my body in order to get that feeling with you? Now, often people say, hey, we can see you smiling, you're smiling. And people up the front would possibly see that very much better than people at the back there. Okay? So let's talk about smiling, because maybe it's something to do with that. And there are plenty of body language experts out there who'll go, hey, you know what? Smile. Smile. Get out there and smile and everything will go right. Well, under stress and pressure, it's really hard to smile. They're really small muscles. You've got 50 muscles in your face, give or take a few, depending on how you want to classify them. They're very hard to control. And under stress and pressure, you're more likely to leak out those gestures of stress and pressure and get people feeling negative towards you. So what's in a smile? What's in a smile? We know that the sides of the mouth have to turn up. That's done by tightening the cheek muscles here, by the way. Or what I'm going to demonstrate to you is called a Duchenne smile, by the way, named after French psychologist in the 18th century, Duchenne, who first worked out or thought, okay, I think we probably all smile the same. And it turns out we do. Across the planet, the Duchenne smile is the same across the planet. The cheek muscles here tighten up. Yeah, and I'll just do that, and you'll see the sides of my mouth turn up. But you'll notice that's not enough, is it? Yeah, that's just pretty weird. Yeah? And can you see, even from a distance, your brain is going, that's not a good one. That's not a good smile. That's a weirdo. And And the reason is there's a part of the signal missing. And your brainstem, your instinct, when insufficient data, always defaults to a negative. If you don't get the full smile, your brainstem doesn't go, well, it's half a smile, so give them the benefit of the doubt. No, it absolutely goes, that's half a smile. Don't give them any benefit of the doubt. Run away immediately. Better to be safe than sorry. You see, your instinct and your body language reading capacity is in it for you and is in it for your safety right now. That's all. It's not in it for my safety. It's in it for your safety. Yes, we do have the social mammalian brain, which is in it for our safety. Absolutely. But the brainstem, the instinct, only cares about you and your safety in this very moment. And it's that instinct that's highly switched on when you go into meetings with people and maybe there's some issues going on. It's a little more troubling. There's a little more threat there anyway. And threat for the brainstem is simply things like, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Risk. That's all. Anything the brainstem sees at risk, then it's going to turn itself on highly. And if it doesn't see enough data, it will catastrophize. And therefore, this gesture here, you start to catastrophize and go, yeah, we've got an axe murderer. Now, what do we need to add to that? Well, of course, you're right in thinking the eyes. But the eyes can do very little. I mean, the eyeballs can move around and the pupils can dilate, for sure. What has to happen is around the eyes. What happens is the cheek muscles bunch up, pulling the sides of the mouth up, and the eyes narrow. And when the eyes narrow and these cheek muscles bunch up, you get little lines here. The reason you get little lines here is it darkens an area of the eye here, which means it can be seen at a distance. At a distance, you're able to tell if somebody's doing a Duchenne smile. Now, I'm going to do one for you right now, okay? It takes 3 seconds or more, or certainly more than 3 seconds, for your instinct to find that it has enough data to predict me as being friend now. So it's no good flashing a smile. Yeah, let me just flash a few smiles. Yeah, that was a full Duchenne smile. Took about 50th of a second, so your brain could read it, but your brain goes, no, that's not enough. Don't give him the benefit of the doubt. That's just a weirdo. So it means you cannot flash a smile to somebody walking down the corridor or walking down the street. I know we're all busy people. We're going to another meeting. We see somebody in our organization and we go, I should really make some good contact with them, but I need to get to this meeting, so I'm going to flash them a smile. So here's what happens. You go, and they absolutely hate you. They're like going, who's that weirdo? Ooh. And you'll often see the disgust gesture in them, yeah, which is a signal, a social signal to say that person is poisonous. The nose wrinkles up here, the nostrils flare. You often get a swallow gesture here or some movement here of bitterness. And it's rather like the person is saying, we've just swallowed something bitter and poisonous, and we need to disgust, which means we need to throw up. Yeah, so it literally says that person is bad food. They're poisonous for us. So you can't flash smiles at people. You need to sustain them over 3 seconds. So I'm building now a full Duchenne smile, which means that the cheek muscles are bunching up here and the eyes are narrowing. And around about you, yeah, I can see I'm getting a smile from here and here, yeah, and some down here. So it starts, yeah, and one over here. So I'm able to see that this is getting the right feedback. Now, for those of you that feel that good feeling right now, all I'm going to do is drop the eyes out and keep that there. And can you feel how it's gone a bit silent here while people go, yeah, there's the axe murderer again up there. So look, smiling isn't enough under pressure because chances are you won't be able to get it exactly right. We need bigger gestures using bigger muscle groups in order to win that trust and credibility. So what you may be noticing that I'm doing is open palm gestures at exactly navel height. So The open palms is a universal signal for no tools, no weapons, nothing in my hands. Let me just take that signal away from you. Yeah? So, I'm here to help you. You can trust me. I'm here to help you. You can trust me. Trust me or trust me. Or trust me. Yeah, what you have in front of you, voted for by my peers, is the #1 expert in my field in the world. I'm here to help you. You can trust me. I'm new to this. Only just started learning about this week. I'm here to help you. You can trust me. I'll make mistakes, but it'll be all right. I've been in this area for most of my life. I'm the world expert in my field. I'm here to help you. You can trust me. Who do you want to work with? There's this expert here or this new person. Can you hear the little voice in your head going, yeah, the new person's pretty good? Yeah? Give the new person a go. Give them a try. At least they're honest. No, both of me are lying. Yeah, both of me are making stuff up. It's just you prefer this one. You prefer this one because there's less risk in the person that you see more of. When insufficient data, you default to negatives. And this is insufficient data. And this is insufficient data. And that's insufficient data. This one's insufficient data. That's insufficient data. This is just more data. And it's more data with the hands showing at exactly navel height. Now here is my center of gravity. Here, this is where the whole of my body kind of hinges around. If I get this area of my body controlled, I'm in big trouble because everything attaches into this. Here are some delicate organs that if they get damaged, I'm in big trouble. This area is very, very vulnerable. And so if I do open palm gestures at this vulnerable area, it's a big trigger across the planet for there are no predators in the room. There's no risk. Now let me show you what risk looks like. Yeah, the stomach will get covered. The primary sexual characteristics will get covered. The body will minimize and become smaller. The body will become still, so that the predator passes on by and doesn't see you. When there's no predator in the room, the body opens up. Here, the body maximizes a little bit more. We take up more space. Does that make sense to everybody? So, I'm here. I'm an expert. You've got 9 more minutes with me to work with me. Or, I'm here. I'm an expert. You've got 9 more minutes to work with me. Do you have a preference? Yeah, your preference is for this one. Yeah, and there's no reason why this one is any more intelligent than the other. But you make me more intelligent because I'm less risk. Now, let me put some numbers to this because I know that many of you are going to go out there and you're going to deliver data. And you're going to say to yourself, well, look, this is all very interesting, Mark, but if I just go and deliver them the numbers will speak for themselves. They're intelligent people. They'll get the numbers. So I'm going to give you some numbers. I'm going to give you the same numbers each time. They're my numbers. They may not be numbers that you deliver in your world. They're my numbers, but they will be the same numbers each time. All I'm going to do is deliver them at a different horizontal height on my body. Open palm gestures at a different horizontal height on my body. And I want you to notice what happens to your validation of the numbers, to your evaluation of the numbers, because numbers are just integers. But when you put them in a context, the numbers become a value, and your audience start manipulating and working with the value, not the integer, not the number. And I can change the value by changing my nonverbal communication around the number, around the integer. So here come the numbers. Last year, the company made $5 million in profit, which is a fantastic amount. I'm really pleased about that. Last year, the company made $5 million in profit, which is a fantastic amount. I'm really pleased about that. Last year, the company made $5 million in profit, which is a fantastic amount. I'm really pleased about that. Last year, the company made $5 million in profit. I'm just going to stop there, because you don't buy this at all, do you, here? In fact, some of you have got an image in your head of me with the $5 million. And it's not a good picture, is it? And how true does that picture feel to you? How true does your evaluation of the risk around the $5 million feel? My guess is it feels pretty true. So my question is where's your data to back up the truth of that? And you don't have any. In fact, it's the insufficient data that you have that causes you to default to negatives here, because you've got insufficient data around what's happening in my mouth right now. When insufficient data, you default to negatives. It's a fantastic amount. I'm really pleased about that. It's a $5 million budget. We will be on time and we will be on budget. You can trust me. And you might go, well, that's okay, Mark, because I'm never going to present the numbers like this. Yes, you will. You're going to do it 20 minutes into a meeting. 20 minutes into a meeting, sitting down, your brainstem will go, wow, my head, it weighs 12 pounds. If only I had a stick to put it on. Oh, a stick. And you'll do this. And they'll go, can we have the numbers? And you'll go, yeah, it's a $5 million project, and we will be on time and we will be on budget. And they're not buying it anymore, are they? And they'll go, can you go and get some more numbers? And you'll think, those are the numbers. There aren't any other numbers. And you'll go off and you'll monkey around to try and come up with some ridiculous numbers. You'll come back again, 20 minutes in, you'll do this, and then now you're giving them the next set of numbers, and it's still not any good for them. So you might think to yourself, look, Mark, it's all well and good. You've been up here presenting on this big space. We spend most of our time probably, sitting round tables. Well, when insufficient data, they default to a negative. And the moment you sit at a table, you cut off a huge amount of your body. So here's what I want you to do. Next time you're at a meeting and you're sitting down to deliver them the facts and the figures or your idea, make sure you pull yourself back from the table a hand span. Now, that's not you lean back from the table. That's going to be a different thing. Yeah? You take your whole chair back so there's a hand span between you and the table, and you do open palm gestures at navel height, and you're going to see a totally different look on their faces around how much they trust the ideas that you're delivering to them. Because again, what's liable to happen at a table is you end up leaning on the table. So you get, last year the company made $5 million in profit, which is a fantastic amount. I'm really pleased about that. Yeah, and they think it's 2.7. You think I'm exaggerating, don't you? Well, why? Because when the hands come up to chest height, heart rate and breathing rate go up. We get excited. We get excited. And so you start projecting that excitement onto the numbers. The audience feel that the numbers, the data has been excited. And this happens constantly at a table because you rock up to the table and instantly lean on it and start telling your story. And by the way, there's no bad body language. There's just results that you wanted or didn't want. So do this. Be my guest if you want to get people excited. I mean, you'll see all kinds of people across the planet delivering like this, okay, up here at this area because they want to get the people excited. Yeah, they want the crowd to get roused and excited. When they want them to get really excited, they'll go up here. Okay, there's no bad behavior, but the crowd won't necessarily feel that anything up here is factual. When you want them to trust it as fact, you use what I call the truth plane. Here, open palm gestures at exactly navel height, and you pull back your chair. Just a hand span so they can see this. Oh, by the way, what do you think of this $5 million? Last year, the company made $5 million in profit, which is a fantastic amount. I'm really pleased about that. Yeah, you're not buying it at all, are you? Yeah, you're not buying it at all. This one gives me the best chance of winning trust and credibility with you. And I can do this on purpose. And you can get your teams doing this on purpose. Best way is for you to do it. For you to do it more so they see it and unconsciously start to mirror. A great way to get your team members to do this is to go, you know what? I went to Gartner Symposium. It kicked off with this guy on stage. Don't know who he was. English guy in red socks. We got rid of him in the end. But there was this thing that he was saying about the open palm gestures, and I've been wondering about that. Would you try it out for me and see what you think? Tell me what you think. Maybe there's something in it. Just offer it to them as an idea and show them you doing it. Because their alternative, here's my gamble. Here's my gamble. When you or your team get up to present, I would gamble that, especially under stress and pressure, and if you stand to present, this will happen. You'll go for this. And the room may well be indifferent to you. And by the way, I'll win the gamble. Most people on the planet present like this while standing. And there's nothing wrong with this. There's just prizes and punishment. There's just behavior and results of behavior. And you can do this, or you can do this. Look, I'm doing it on purpose. Here's me doing it. Here's me not doing it. Here's me still not doing it. I'm not doing it. Look, I'm doing it. Yeah? This is me not doing it. I'm not doing it. Nothing wrong with any of this. There's just results. And look, ultimately, you and I, we should be able to do what we like because we've worked, all of us have worked very hard. There's nobody in this room who hasn't got here through intelligence, through making the right relationships with people, with doing the right work to get you to the point that you're at now. Ultimately, it's the same for me. Yeah, voted for by my peers, #1 in the world in my field. Why? Because I worked really hard at it and did more than anybody else and stayed up later and read more and published more than anybody else. So quite frankly, I should be able to do what the hell I like. And you should like it because I'm the best. But you can see it doesn't quite work like that, does it? Doesn't quite work like that. If I allow let me just for a few, we've got 30 odd seconds left. Let me just allow my body to do exactly what it wants in this situation, and I should be allowed to do this because I'm the best in the world. And it should be fine. But what's that little voice in your head saying about me now? Doesn't have the same narrative going on, doesn't have the same feelings going on. So it's really clear, I choose my behavior. I choose my behavior, and specifically these behaviors, just like you can. I choose these behaviors because then I stand, and you will stand to get the results that you want. So choose the behaviors. Choose the behaviors you need in order to get the results that you want. Thanks for having me. Thank you very much. Thank you.